separate screens, but I am going to just I'm rolling with it. So I'm getting into the habit of just live streaming casually. I now have, in fact, started to schedule my live streams into the past, because it's now about 9:37 and I see I scheduled it for 9:35. I'm turning monetization off as a little bonus to people who join in while it's actually streaming. I'll probably turn monetization on later. And as time and motivation allows, I'll do this whole process in some somewhat automated fashion ahead of time, so that I'm not always, readjusting these screens around. It doesn't work exactly like I would like. If ArrowSnap was a little more reliable in bonding windows together, it would be a bit nicer. But you can go ahead and chat with me, and I'm going to get about 20 minutes of talk in before I am moving on to my next meeting. So I'm responding to the person who had the 9:30 with me, and that was canceled. They have something else that's running over, which is fine. So mine has been moved to a few days from now, I think Wednesday. However, I am still going to forge ahead with it, and I'm going to continue on my sort of mental path here. I guess I don't want to start a new journal entry, but every once in a while I'll do maybe 3 hyphens to show it's sort of a time break. That'll become a long horizontal hyphen in my published blog. And when I talk about my published blog from these little chat sessions, I guess that's always screen 3, right? Screen 1 is full screen text editor. Screen 2 is full screen Jupyter. Screen 3 is this, and it throws me off because, you start live streaming in a browser. Isn't that weird? Live streaming is something you do from a browser, but that's Google. That's Google streaming. So I'll just push that over there. No one's joined in again yet, but that tends to change as I get underway. No one knows I'm scheduling these things. I just sort of schedule them and pop them on. And what can I show you? You were surprised to see my cat the other day. So you may be surprised that when I'm blogging like this with the big room behind me, it is very likely that there is a cat above me. Hey, Ari, say hi to the crowd. Say hi to the people. It's the crowd of none. So I put it back like this, and my blurry edged head over here is something I do differently than most, I guess, vloggers on the YouTubes, because I use a laptop and not a studio, and I use the built-in mic and built-in camera and not these fancy SLR cameras, I guess. I don't even know if they're SLR anymore, but these fancy cameras and microphones that people use for vlogging. I don't take the time to set that up, and on the rare occasions I do, it just doesn't stick. So this is good enough, and I can do it anywhere. If I go outside in this beautiful April weather that's starting, I could blog anywhere. I could vlog anywhere. I can record it locally and then upload it later. Or if I have good enough bandwidth, I can stream it from any room I happen to be in. So anywho, this is my journal. It is being typed in software called NeoVim. It is the same thing as Vim in almost all regards, except that it has better ways to integrate with outside software and systems like this OpenAI auto suggest. You're seeing type stuff, seeing try to type stuff on my behalf whenever I stop typing, or I'm in insert mode and it looks like I'm going to continue typing. It's not really OpenAI, but it's an integrated. All right, so it's repeating stuff I said in the past. It's learning from stuff I said in the past. So what I really want to do at this point is master some things that I haven't been able to do. So I'm getting ready to log into Moz Pro, and I want to do that while I'm live streaming. But the question is, how can I block something on the screen while I'm live streaming in order to log in? So the answer is we go to Open OBS, where all this stuff happens. And I actually have all this stuff lined up. I have the soft, round talking head, and I have just the voice and screen, right? So if I didn't want to show my head, and then I have that turns my voice off, which is really nice. And I think I need another one of these, which is just the talking head and not the screen. Maybe I'll make my head real big. Maybe this will be a little bit of a tutorial in OBS. And then you can switch between these with keyboard shortcuts. Then you've got settings set up, right? Because you put your settings on your different keyboard. You put your keyboard shortcuts under hotkeys, under settings. So you can see I can start and stop streaming. I can start and stop recording, and I can pause and unpause recording. You can't pause and unpause streaming. That wouldn't make sense because it's live. You can't pause reality. So I am probably going to put keyboard shortcuts on switching between different scenes. Switch to scene, right? So you can have different switch to scenes. Display, but I'm not going to bother you with that too much. I'm just going to add another one here and then just manually do it. So I'm going to get out of settings. You don't really need to see that. But I take just voice and screen. No, I take the main one, and I see if I can duplicate that, and I give it a new name. Just talking head, just floating head, just talking head. And now I can do modifications to it. I can get rid of this, right? That is the display capture. Confirm removal. And so there's just my talking head. And since it's just my talking head, it should be a little bit bigger and floating. Hello? Does that make sense? I guess that makes sense. And look at this great way you can center it, although it should just snap to center, right? You shouldn't have to manually do this looking for numbers to be equal. I guess you can use arrow keys. That's about as close as it gets on that front, and this is about as close as it gets on this front. 96, 97, yeah, whatever. So I'm not going to be too particular about it, but that's what I can switch to now when I log into Moz. So I won't do that just yet because I don't really have much time. This is kind of setting the stage. And I still have all that stuff loaded from when I streamed earlier. So Control AD to detach, exit to close this terminal. Don't need that. This one over here, similarly. I just like to quit out of stuff that I don't need displaying anymore, so that my sort of natural starting state is seven screens and all but 3 unfilled. So OBS gets minimized. Do I have OBS twice? No, one was the streaming browser window and one was OBS. So we minimize those two things. And I can see that I have multiple edge windows open, but it doesn't look that way normally. It looks like I just have my 3 things lined up, full screen, journal, full screen Jupyter, full screen browser, which is the first of those three there. And that has too many tabs in it, so we don't need that anymore. Snowflake, I have an account on that. I need to get into Snowflake, and that actually becomes another bullet point over here because it's a new data source. When I was talking about data sources on this project, you know, enumerate the data sources, anything in Snowflake. You know, there's much to discuss. Because it kind of fits under third-party products, but it could be anyone's data. It doesn't have to be third-party data. When you're talking about Snowflake, it could be data we provided them or third-party or whatever. Hello, Airy Cat. So, yeah, all right. So we're closing tabs, we're closing that tab. Oh, mermaid. Maybe I'll finish the mermaid thoughts, because that, once I do this, that is such a major step forward that kind of can't be taken back. And I think that's a good way to go. I don't have nearly as much wrong as I thought in configuration files for WSL as I thought. It's nice and solid. So anyone who's like following along, the place to start is always on my website, mikelev.in. And if you really want to follow along, it's /drinkme, inspired by Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And it'll first go to this screen for a second and just sort of hold there for a second, and then it will automatically forward to the Drink Me script. Now it says install me. Maybe I'll change that to be consistent, but you select all, you just follow those instructions, and before long you'll have a Linux-based Jupyter environment on your Windows desktop with an icon on your desktop and everything. So you can double click to run Jupyter, double click to run a Linux shell. And in fact, you have to double click to run a Linux shell before Jupyter will run because of the context in which it runs. These Linux services that Microsoft is allowing to run now do in fact freeze in the background if you don't at least have one Linux shell open, and that's kind of a big problem, but we'll deal with that later. Let's see if anyone's typing to me. No one. Y'all think I'm gone. Y'all think I'm on that other call. And I've got yet another call coming up at 10, which I'll be leaving for. So let's see. That's OBS. That's the streaming thing. Yeah, people popping in and out, whatever. So let's see. I've got to a nice pristine state. And this will be about Mermaid. I've tried in the past to incorporate Mermaid. And the thing is, you don't necessarily want the include on every page of your site, although that is the sure way to do it, so you don't have to implement some code complicating way of switching the Mermaid library on and off. So this is the live editor, but they have other things. Mermaid.live. How do you include the Mermaid JS? All I need is the include file, JavaScript, and then I'll put that in my site template. Now it's showing how you incorporate it with a backend with Node.js. Yeah, we don't need to do that. All we need is the easiest way, 2 elements graph inside. So this is probably how we're going to create some Mermaid code, right? So I'll just put this over here. I just put this here. And that should become mermaid code if I put the include file in there correctly, which the mermaid.js added using a script tag as an EM. So there's a CDN using mermaid, at least node 16, but we shouldn't, that's back-end stuff. We are really only concerned with the front-end stuff. And here's the CDN instruction for including it. So I guess let's do a bold experiment. I copy that, right? Now I go to the templates for my site, which from my repos, it's in hide because it's not one that I show all the time. And from there, it's my name. And from there, we want to go into underscore defaults, underscore layouts. My directory is so big that when I do command line completion here, it sometimes screws me. Can't get out of it. Man, I'm really going to have to trim the size of that directory because it has grown quite large over the years. I just happen to know all the file names. And so this is where stuff is put in. If you want a hardwired script on every page of the site, you can just do that, which I'm doing. And that should allow me to put mermaid on my pages. I can check to make sure that this minimized mermaid file is really there and available by hitting it directly. You should see some JavaScript come up, which you do. If I wanted this to be local, I could make it local so it doesn't have to really call out to mama every time. But I'll use the CDN reference for now. The privacy context isn't quite as nice as doing it local, same with Google Fonts and stuff, but that's a necessary evil that you kind of live with for a little bit. So I got 5 minutes before my call. Let's see if I can render this. And we'll do a before and after. This is rendering. You'll see stuff start to scroll by in the annoyingly buffered way it works from NeoVim. I might be able to fix that at some point, but we just go to my site, mikelev.in, and to get to the blog, you can go to just /blog. Let's see if I put the trailing. Yeah, if you don't put the trailing slash, it fills it in with an auto forward. You can see my last 2 posts, I didn't put any headlines on, so they just got numerically named. And this is the one I was talking with you about this morning. And you'll see there is no mermaid diagram here. And there won't be until this gets to the end. It shows that it's actually done its little GitHub push. And then from that point, we're still starting a little bit of a waiting game for the rendering to happen. So I'll get that going. I have a browser kind of dedicated to that purpose. So it's going to be green all the way down because it didn't get to the GitHub step yet of the release system. So there's the last time I did it. 26 minutes ago. You saw me do that. That was the one I did back then. So here, there, it just finished the pushing to GitHub. And that means that this will be going from green to orange. I don't even have to touch it, just watch. It'll just pop. There it goes, orange. And if you wanted the more details, you could drill in either from here, or you could do it from the left. Then you can drill into here, or you could do it from the left. And you can see the build procedure occurring. We'll see if we have mermaid. And it does a lot, right? I'm telling you, my repo is quite a bit larger than it needs to be for what it's doing because of the long history of my website. We'll just go back up to this top level because that's crazy to look at that much. These steps are set up job, pull, checkout, build with Jekyll, upload artifact. Post checkout. That step looks done. So it should be going back to other parts of that flow chart. So this part is done. That's the longest part. Reporting on it and deploying it. Now this is not an ideal deployment because every page of my site now has the Mermaid JavaScript on it. Excuse me, that is less than ideal. I'll make sure I have water here to wet my whistle. And we did the before and after in that other screen. So here I should just be able to do a refresh. Oh, wait. Wait, is that it? I don't know. That is certainly different from before, but it's not the arrows that I thought were going to be there. That's the word forbidden. That's this. So it's along the right path, but it's not exactly rendering the way I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, I will diagnose. It's time for me to go, and I'll do part 2 of mermaid diagrams coming up soon. Anyone actually here? Oh, Life Worth It is back. Yeah, already. So, yeah, you checked out my blog. Yeah. Hi, Life is Worth It. Liwi. Hi, Liwi. I'll be back again. I'll be back soon. Again, I'm going to try to live stream all day, but not during meetings. All right, so that's it. As fast as I see you here, I got to say bye, but you're seeing me push forward pretty well against these different fronts. Later, Gators. Oh my goodness, right when it spikes. I'll be back, folks. I'll be back.